Welcome back to the podcast, guys.
Hi, I was just fixing my hair.
Hey?
I was just
Fixing your hair. Oh, don't you worry. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the pod. It has been a pretty uneventful week for me, to be honest.
Same.
But I feel like I'm just kind of getting used to living on my own.
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, it's just been a bit of a weird one. Like, I feel like no one really talks about having to learn to live on your own. And I don't know, it's just been like a bit of a learning curve, I guess, for me, because I literally went from living with a partner, going to my family house, then being on holiday, traveling, and then now all of a sudden, like, I'm just on my own. So it's like getting used to my own company is strange.
But I think you learn so much about yourself when I love living on my own.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the things...
It's really good for you.
Like, I feel like people don't really talk about the things that you can do. So I just want to quickly say the things that I have done to actually make my life a little bit better. But I think the biggest thing is just making sure you actually have got a social calendar and you've got friends outside of like just living on your own. Because for me, I find it so easy to just not speak to anyone, especially with my job. Like, it's so easy for me.
Central.
It's so easy for me to not speak to anyone. So I feel like making sure you actually have social plans is very, very important, even if it is just the weekend. And then just little things like just making the house a home. Like, usually I wouldn't splash out on like flowers and candles, but every week I've been buying myself fresh flowers. Yeah. Every week I've been like, every day I'm lighting the candles, like I'm making it smell nice. Like, I'm just doing things, like I'm just romanticizing my own life, you know?
Yeah, but that's really nice and it makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does.
Because I have Fresh Flower Friday.
Yeah.
Fresh Flower Friday is a thing, okay? Every Friday from Spinneys, fresh flowers.
But I would never usually do that because I didn't need to do anything to like...
make you feel good.
Make me feel good, but now I'm just like working on making myself feel good.
Yeah, but this is so exciting.
Yeah, it's really nice.
And I feel like you'll really come into your own like in a different way.
It has been difficult though, because like sometimes you can just sit on your own and you're like alone with your own thoughts. And thoughts can be very loud.
Yeah.
Like, thoughts can be so loud. So it's just been getting used to kind of getting into the vibe of living on my own, but it's I'm getting there. I feel like I'm getting there.
I think when I was there, because I'm an only child.
Yeah.
So like I have only child syndrome.
Yes.
I like to be
on your own.
Alone. I love it. I could be alone for weeks. You know what I mean? So that's the difference, because I'm used to being on my own. But I had a dog growing up and I had Lily, so I think it helps that I had Lily.
Yeah.
If I didn't have the dog, when like I was kind of going like that time on my own and stuff without being in a relationship, I don't know, would I be the same? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's hard to know. But on that note, like, everything's been very boring this week. I've literally done nothing. All I'm talking about at the moment is trying to get a tan. This is very sad. Like,
it's such first world problems.
It is like, right, I'm literally like, we don't really do much, to be fair, right? I think people think like you live in this country, you're in a beach club sipping cocktails all day, but I wish we were. We work a lot. So for me, I'm trying to say, like, I'm trying to protect an hour in the morning. So that's my peace hour. And I'm trying to go down to the pool. It's not working out very well. No. So I'm trying to do, like, I did get a little burn. But you know what's funny? In like 2 days, I'm going to be pale again.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's not like Spain heat.
No, it's not. It's not even like UK heat. Like UK, no. When I was in the UK in the summer and I actually sat out, which anyone that's in the UK will know that we didn't really have a summer, but when I was there, I would sit out and it wouldn't even be that hot. It was like 20 degrees and I'd burn. Here, it'll be 40 degrees and
no tan.
You don't get a tan. It's really weird, isn't it? But obviously now in Dubai, like, our winter is basically summer because this is when you can actually go out. So getting a tan is obviously hard, but important.
That's my first world problem at the moment. Very good.
Yeah.
But what were we saying before? We literally, like I was saying in the podcast last week, we kind of go off the cuff always and just say like what we feel in that time. And we were actually just speaking about like different clients that we have and talking about like the main issue people have is like self-limiting beliefs and the inability to like back themselves with like so many different factors, right?
Oh, like, it's actually wild. And it wasn't really until I did this job that I realised how conditioned we are to always speak negatively to yourself. It's like a normal thing that we all do. And it's so funny, isn't it? Because when you hear someone fully back themselves, like if you heard a girl being like, I am a sexy bitch.
Yeah,
You'd be
yeah.
like, whoa,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Like, it's weird. Like, I wouldn't think, oh, I should say that, but I'd be like, go on. Like, it's not a normal thing.
But that should be.
It should be normal. It
in-
should be normal to
Yeah.
fully back yourself, but it's so much easier. And especially in the UK, like, we all love to talk ourselves down. Like, we do it all the time, and I hear clients do it all the time, but it's wild when you think about how, and it's like I was saying before, like, our thoughts are so strong, like, especially being on my own now and being with my own thoughts a lot. What you say to yourself matters so much because it alters your reality.
And you know what else I think is mad is like people who can't, like, who get almost embarrassed to take a compliment. It's like the same thing. Like, you know, if you say to someone, oh, I like your hair, and immediately they're like, oh, but I actually hate it because, and I'm like, well,
just take the compliment.
Just take the compliment and feel good about it. And I feel that also comes from the inability to see yourself the way others see you.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
think there's so much to that. I think a lot of that is going to be so deep rooted with people. So funny. I saw a TikTok the other day and it was like me and my friend go to like a completely different level of gossiping now. Like we don't just talk about someone, we talk about like their childhood trauma and all this stuff. Have you seen it?
No, but it's true though.
It's so true. Like honestly, I can't help but like analyze the way that I am and the way that other people now move, because it all does stem down so much to like how you're brought up as a kid and the beliefs that you've just kept so much. And you know, in this job I say it all the time, like you're not just learning new things, you're unlearning thoughts and beliefs that you've had probably since you were a kid.
But the way you are, like as you grow up, you know, like you're not going to be the same as you are when you were 10 or when you were 15 or when you were 20. Like you're always evolving.
But you still have an inner child.
Yes.
You still have an inner child.
Yeah.
Like I know that I hear all the time people saying things to me like, oh, I'm just not someone that can stick to a plan. Or I'm just someone that is a binge eater. I'm just someone that has to have chocolate on a night time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you're not that.
Exactly.
You are just telling yourself that you are that. And it's so mad how these thoughts will completely change the way that you are and the way that you act. And I say it all the time.
Yeah.
The way that you actually speak to yourself really does matter, because the person that you believe yourself to be is the person that you are.
And you know what? That's funny when you say that. Like people are always like laughing. Like when I do, like when we talk about like mindset and stuff like that and the way you see yourself, like people are like, oh, manifestation is stupid, or like, oh, I'm not going to write these things down or whatever. Like how you view yourself. If you tell yourself something, like it's. I believe like I was talking to someone the other day and they said like stuff like that is actually even in the Bible.
Really?
Like yeah, they were just saying like that, like how you speak to yourself and how you talk yourself up or talk yourself down is what you become.
Yeah.
So like if you're telling yourself you're ugly, you're fat, like whatever, you are that, you know. But
yeah, because you will act in that way. It's like someone who says, I can't follow a plan. If you continuously tell yourself every day you can't follow a plan, are you going to follow a plan?
Never.
Like, of course you're
Never.
not. And like, you know, if someone wants to have a good relationship with food, if you constantly tell yourself, I'm a binger, I'm someone that has to eat chocolate on a night time, if you tell yourself every day that that is what you have to do, then that is what you will do. If you tell yourself that, no, actually, I'm someone who is worthy of this change, the change is going to happen for me, and I don't actually have to eat that chocolate on a night time. If you tell yourself that every day, then you're surely going to act differently than someone who speaks the opposite.
And I think people tell themselves that they want something. It's like the difference between like, do you want it or do you just think you want it?
Yeah.
So like some people really want the change, but they're not committed to taking away the habits, and it's almost like they feel like it's a prison sentence. But anything you do at the start is going to be challenged, right?
Yeah.
Like I remember like vaping. I liked to vape, right? Everyone did. I think everyone kind of went through that phase. So did you. You don't vape anymore.
Yeah.
So when I stopped vaping, and like I'm a highly stressed person.
Well, I say I don't vape anymore, but it's happened. It's happened now and again. I feel
But
like
that's okay.
I went to the UK and then it was fine, and then I came back and
Yeah.
I need to stop. But anyway, carry on.
Because when I was like, okay, like this is fine. And I was like, you know what? I don't need it. Like I'm in control. Like I'm telling myself I'm in control. And because I'm so in control, I haven't thought about it. Like at times I'm like, oh, I'd love a vape, you know, when I'm a bit stressed or whatever. but I would never actively say, oh my God, things are so bad, I need this, because I don't need anything. But I've taught myself to be in control. So anyone can do that, because you're as weak as you allow yourself to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's so hard, because I really do understand, like, when you have got such deep rooted beliefs in certain aspects. Like, I had a client who comes from like an Asian background, so food and certain types of food is so ingrained in her DNA that the thought of not eating certain foods or eating in a certain way culturally is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like almost spiritually, it just felt wrong. So trying to unlearn these things was like
impossible.
Almost impossible. But now she's been able to overcome them through different strategies. But I think you really have to want it.
Yeah, you do.
You really have to. It's even like me. Like, I used to be a proper bad binge eater. After my first competition in 2017, my relationship with food was so bad, and there was a time of my life where I genuinely was like, I am always going to be someone that is obsessed with food. I'm always going to be someone that can't, not think about food every minute of the day. I'm not like that now at all. It's taken me a long time to get here. But I think you have to get so sick of your own bullshit before you actually make a change. Yeah, and you have to really, like, deep down, and like, this is what all like manifestation is all about. Like, you can't just say like, oh, I want a Rolls Royce. Like, I believe I should have a Rolls Royce and do nothing about it. Like, you have to truly, truly in your core, like, believe something. And with that belief, the action will be different. Yep. And that is genuinely like what I feel like has to happen. Yep. But you have to have that sort of change internally. And no matter how many times people can say, believe in yourself, you have to do it for yourself, don't you? You have to genuinely want that.
And I think the big issue with people as well is people, number one, don't believe in themselves, which what we're talking about now. Number two, like, they're too influenced by other people. Like, I always say this, right? When you start to do really well, and like, I've noticed a big transition in my circle and people around me, and as you move and as you grow and evolve, and a lot of people do, like, everyone has, but like, I feel like a lot of people who haven't been made self-aware of that or understand it, I feel a lot of them are like, oh my God, these people in work are saying this, my friends are saying that, and I'm like, because no one wants you to see you doing better than them, right? They don't want to see you progress. Some people do, and some people really don't. And you get so caught up with these comments, being like, oh, why are you eating that? Why are you doing this? That you're pulling yourself back.
100%. I hear that all the time.
It's common.
People in work think I'm weird. People in work, when I was a physio full time, I was on prep. People in work thought I was mental. Yes. Because I would work in a little tiny box room, right? Okay, so probably this box room was like as big as like, imagine this couch like flipped like it was Tetris. So it's like a little box room, and I'd have people coming in and out to me every 20 minutes. When I didn't have a client and I'd finished typing up my notes, I would pace around the room because I had 14,000 steps to do in a day. Yeah. People would knock on my door and to ask me a question, and I would just be like walking around, and they'd be like, what is she doing? They'd knock on my door, offer me biscuits, offer me chocolates. I'd be like, no thanks. Did I get absolutely rinsed in the beginning? Of course I did. People thought I was nuts. I would be losing weight and people would go, are you okay?
Yeah, annoying. That's annoying.
Are you okay? Like, you don't need to lose any weight. Why are you doing this to yourself though? You have to be stronger than the opinions of other people, because you are the only person that is in control of what you do and how you think. No one is going to be able, like, no one should be able to change what you do. Yeah. And people care far too much about what people think.
Obsessed.
They're obsessed with what people think.
But you know what? I always say it's the people who have no passion for anything. They go to work, they go home, there's nothing going on in their life. They're the ones that are going to nitpick on you. But like, what's funny? Let's say Karen in work brings a chicken salad to work, and you bring a chicken salad to work. You're both bringing in a chicken salad, but because you look like you're dieting or you're doing something, you're going to be attacked by Karen. Why are you eating that?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Karen, you're eating the same shit. You know what I mean? You're doing the same thing. Or someone who eats a scone every day will say, why do you eat that every day? You're also eating a scone every day, but our choices of food are just different. So the way that you come back to people, I think, is normal. Like what you said, like if you just say to someone, because I like it, and you're assertive in their approach, no one's going to come at you again. You know what I mean?
I think because of the way that I was, and I didn't give it too much care and attention, because I was very firm in the way that I approached it, no one really said anything anymore. Like, yeah, people are going to have their opinions and they can stick to their opinions. They're entitled to their own opinions. But at the end of the day, it doesn't change anything that you do. No one who is doing better than you is ever going to have anything to say about 100%. What you're doing. Yeah. No one. The only time someone will ever have anything negative to say about what you're doing, if you are trying to improve your life, is someone who feels like they can't do it themselves. The way that you are, the way that you're moving is making them feel a type of way about themselves. It's revealing an insecurity that they have within themselves because they don't think that they can stick to a plan. Yeah. They don't think that they've got it in them to make self-improvements, make self-development. So naturally, instead of thinking to themselves, maybe I should do that. And they might not even be aware of it. They just project how they feel internally onto you. And you know what? This can happen with people in work. And it usually is in the workplace. But this can also happen within your close circle. This can happen from friends. Yep. This can happen with parents. I have had in the past friends that I have been going out friends with, drinking friends. Why are you being boring? Why are you not drinking? Yeah. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I've had that. You know, when I first started bodybuilding, my mum, like, she's my biggest supporter, right? But when I first started bodybuilding back in 2017, it wasn't really a thing like it is now. She thought I was absolutely nuts because I was coming home from uni and I was losing kilos in between every time I seen her. She genuinely thought I was going insane. I remember my sister saying to my nana in her room, and I could hear her being like, is Olivia okay? Is she ill?
Oh my God.
And like, in any other scenario, I think I'm just a pretty headstrong person, but in any other scenario, that could be enough to really throw someone off. And that it wasn't even coming out of like
a malicious place.
No, it wasn't. Yeah. It was because they had no idea. And I always say to people, like, if someone doesn't understand something, they're not going to get it. Therefore, they're probably not going to support it because they don't understand. So just use your time to actually educate someone. Like, if you think someone's going to benefit from what you're doing, educate them. But you might educate them till you're blue in the face, and they are still not going to support you. They're still not going to follow you. They're still not going to do what you do. So you have to then either choose to be derailed by someone else's thoughts and beliefs, or you choose to just stick to your guns and keep carrying on. And only you can actually decide like what you do.
But I feel like, because that's such a common thing that I get all the time. I think most coaches will probably get that, like, when people start. But at the end of the day, like, the less you care, it comes from confidence. Yeah. So starting with what we said first, like self-limiting beliefs, number one, how you speak to yourself, that's going to be the most important thing. Mm-hmm. When you start to value yourself, and it's self-respect, right? So when you start to respect yourself more and people talk like that to you, you will learn that that level of talk is not acceptable, and you won't allow it. But people allow it because they have little respect for themselves, and that's what it is. It comes down to self-respect, you know, and like, it's like, how much do you value yourself? And that might hit a nerve with some people. But when I heard that years ago, being like, oh, you don't respect yourself, and I'm like, what? Like,
yeah, I do respect
I know,
myself.
I respect myself. What?
I don't go sleeping around. Of course I respect myself.
But like, that level of respect that you have for yourself, like what you feed yourself, how you recover, like how you...
Self-love, isn't it?
Self-love, it's self-love. Like, people will say, oh, that's what face mask, that's also a different form of self-care, self-love. But internal work is what's going to create the ultimate change,
self-love,
right?
Self-respect.
Yeah, 100%.
Definitely.
But I feel like I say that to clients all the time, and I know it pisses some people off, but it makes them move. Yeah. I'm like, what you do with like your goals and stuff, having goals, having a purpose is the greatest form of self-respect.
100%.
And it's invaluable, that gift that you give yourself. And I genuinely think people get angry when they see people move forward.
Yeah, it comes from a jealous place, but you know, that relationship that you have with yourself ultimately is the most important one. And something that I think is really powerful is thinking about your relationship that you have with yourself, like a relationship that you would have with a partner or a friendship. If I told you something and told you not to tell anyone, and you told the whole world and you did the opposite of what I've said, or if I said to you, oh, I need picking up from the airport, can you pick me up at 5 a.m? And you said, yeah, don't worry, and then I landed and you weren't there, would I then trust you to tell you something? Would I then trust you to pick me up? No, I wouldn't. So why do we think that our relationship with ourselves is any different? If you tell yourself something and you don't follow through with it, how are you ever going to trust yourself?
Yep.
You are feeding into self-limiting beliefs because you are not following through what you said. So I think it's very important when we think about how you improve your self-love and how you improve your self-respect, making tangible goals that you actually know you're going to stick to and you can stick to is probably one of the most important things. And I'm not talking about dropping 10 kilos in 12 weeks. I'm talking about the little things that you do on a day-to-day basis. Like if you tell yourself this week, I'm going to the gym twice a week, and that's a starting point. Stick to it. Yeah. Do it. Like as much as you don't feel like doing it at the time, like do it anyway. Like I'm sure if I asked you to pick me up at the airport at 5 a.m, you probably wouldn't want to get out of bed, but you would do it. So why do we not do it for ourselves? Like it's just so important that these promises that we make to ourselves, that we actually start sticking to them. Because that's when you actually start believing in yourself and not setting unrealistic expectations for you to kind of fall. Like that's one of the biggest things for me in improving you. Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Like a lot of people say, oh, I don't have time to do this and I don't have time to do that. And it's like, no one has time. Like I work at home, I don't have time. Do you?
No.
We don't have time. So I literally said to someone yesterday, because they're like struggling with like meal prep and things like that, I'm like, that's a choice. Like it's a choice. I was just saying to Liv before the podcast, I was so tired because I had like 3 hours sleep last night broken, which is very unlike me. I was dead. I still got up this morning. I still got all my work done. I still prepped all my meals. Did I want to? No, I didn't want to do that. But I make myself do it because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And I would feel 10 times worse for doing it. So whether you're happy, sad, whether like there's so much going on in your life, you can still make time. That's a respect thing. So anytime you do something that you don't want to do, I will always say, I respect myself. Yeah. I respect myself.
Stick to the plan, not your mood.
Yes,
Stick
that's a
to
good
your
one.
plan.
That's a very good
your
one.
mood, because there is times where I was just telling you, like me and Jim have fallen out at the minute. We really have fallen out at the minute. My training sessions are just not something that makes me excited at the minute. But am I still going? Yes. Do I enjoy it? No. But I'm still going because I know over time the love will come back.
Yeah.
It will be fine. And ultimately, do I want to look like a bag of cottage cheese? No, I don't. So I will still go. And I think you just have to like get to a point where you just have less emotion towards it. You don't wait for motivation. You just do it because you've said you're going to do it.
Yep, 100%. So I think if anyone can take anything away from this, it's like learn to value yourself more. Like even if you don't believe it at the beginning and you feel like things are stupid, like talking to yourself in the mirror, telling yourself like, I feel good, I'm confident. Even if you're looking back at yourself and you don't, you have to start telling yourself this every day. You have to start creating, like Liv said, small challenges to set yourself up for success. Stop doing mad shit. Like you don't need to do everything at once. Like start doing things that can complement your life and not stress you out. And stop listening to people.
Yeah.
Literally.
Stop listening to people. Live in Delulu land.
Yeah, literally.
Live in your own delusional universe. Because you know what? I've done that for the last 3 months and my life has been so much better for it. So live in your own little world. And even if you think people care and are talking about you, so what? You're living in your own world. Yeah. This is your world and everyone else is just living it. And
I love a bit of selective hearing.
Yeah.
I love a bit of that. My thing is like when I used to work in the hospital, I remember I got complained one day for like having salmon, and the person who complained me brings tuna in. I'm like, you also like what? Anyway, but the fact is this person was like triggered by what I was doing and I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I literally just didn't care because like I'm so at a point where I felt like so content. I was still really triggered like at the end of the day, like listening to it in the moment, but I didn't act on emotion because I'm like, do you know what? When you hear all these things, I think a big thing is you just have to sit back and say, before you get emotionally unstable or you act out or you stop doing things because this person has made you feel a certain way, I would always say like, this person has nothing going on in their life.
And let them.
Let them.
Let them.
Let them.
Let them.
Yeah.
They want to have an issue with it? Let them.
Yeah.
They don't like what you're doing? Let them. Let them be. Let them be.
Yeah,
and
100%.
And you will be happier.
Yeah. So take note, just focus on yourself, forget about everyone else. And if you have a self-limiting belief, then start to work on yourself, because trust me, when you start to focus on all the positive things rather than the negative,
your life will be more
change.
positive.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
It's like a domino effect, right?
It is, yeah, 100%. It's all perspective.
Yeah.
Life is happening for you, not to you, and you have to say that every single day.
And I've seen it happen to so many people here, like when they're manifesting and when they're like, because we're around really good energy, and like when people talk about like all that stuff and you start to do it and you start to see it, it becomes like it's a real thing.
Yeah, it is. People think it's airy-fairy, but I actually don't think it is.
No, I don't believe that at all for a second.
I think it's so true.
You need to listen to us because we know.
But on that note, I feel like we've done enough blabbing for today. But hopefully you found that useful. And obviously, if you have got any self-limiting beliefs, you know, you can always drop us a message, because I feel like this is stuff that we talk about every single day. So if you need any perspective, or if you've got a Karen at work and you need anyone to rant Karens. To, we are here.
There's so many Karens in the world.
So many.
But we will catch you in the next one, guys.
Bye.